Jeff Heath of the University of Derby in England said that we are what we come to believe ourselves to be. To change our beliefs is to change our identities. For the most part, we've grown comfortable with ourselves and the way we see our world. If we were not, we would be constantly searching for new reasons to change our lives. To upset our comfort zone is to shake the very foundation that allows us to feel safe in the world. So to make a change in something as powerful as the core beliefs that define our lives, we need a trigger that's equally powerful. We need a reason to jolt us from the complacency of one way of thinking into a new, and sometimes revolutionary, way of seeing things. In short, we need a different perspective. The catalyst for a new perspective may be something as simple as connecting the dots of newly discovered facts that lead to a novel understanding that simply makes sense. Or it may take something that blows the doors right off of everything we've believed in the past to catapult us into a greater possibility, something like a real-life miracle. Both logic and miracles give us good reasons to see the world differently. The discoveries of today's science are opening the door to entirely new ways of seeing the world without miracles. And that's why considering the universe as a computer and belief as a program is so powerful. Because we already know how both work, when we look for a way to change, it gives us a familiar place to begin. 159. How does so much hurt and suffering find its way into our lives? Why do we hold fast to damaging beliefs, in essence perpetuating the very experiences that we'd like to heal? When we ask these questions, could it be that we're really asking something even more basic? The beliefs that bring the pain and suffering are examples of a limited way of seeing the world. So maybe the real question is, why do we cling to the beliefs that limit us in life? The metaphor of belief as a program may offer a clue. If we had a computer program that hurt us every time we pushed the on button, just as our beliefs sometimes do, we'd say that it wasn't working properly, that it had an error. So do the beliefs that we feed into the mirror of consciousness have a defect that leads us to perpetuate the experiences that hurt us? Or is it possible that the program itself works impeccably and it's the way in which we're using our beliefs that's signaling the need to change? Having a glitch doesn't always mean that the program was written incorrectly. In fact, it may run perfectly under the conditions for which it was originally designed. Sometimes, however, a program made for one condition finds itself in a very different set of circumstances. Although it still does what it was always intended to do, and does it really well, in another environment it may not produce the expected outcome, so it looks as if the program has an error. This leads us to the question, in the programs of consciousness, are hatred, fear, and war the result of a glitch in our beliefs? While the quantum stuff of the universe definitely reflects what we believe, is it possible that we were never meant to focus our beliefs on the things that hurt us in life? To heal the limits of either a conscious or subconscious perception, we must somehow bypass what the mind has believed in the past and replace it with something new based in an experience that's true for us, our inarguable truth. We can use the power of logic to speak directly to our conscious minds. And when we consciously accept a new way of seeing the world, our subconscious beliefs are affected as well. Replacing an existing belief in the conscious mind with a new, upgraded and improved one may be thought of in the same way we've thought of a software patch. The patch is built independently of the original software and inserted at a later time to upgrade the program and heal it from unwanted responses. History has shown that both logic and miracles can become the superhighway to the deeply held beliefs that our minds have accepted in the past. Logic patch: once the mind sees a reason to think differently about the world, it will allow the heart to embrace that possibility as a new belief, that is, to feel that it is true. For a logic patch to work, the mind needs to see a flow of information that leads us to a logical conclusion, one that makes sense to us. If we can see the connection in our minds, then the questioning steps aside and allows our hearts to accept what we're shown. Mathematical proofs work the same way. For example, if water at room temperature is wet, and we are covered in water at room temperature, then we are wet. One way that we apply the logic patch in our lives is when we see another person accomplish something that we believed was impossible. Although there may be no logical reason why we can't do something, if no one has done it before, a seemingly difficult feat can create such a strong belief in our minds that we begin to believe that it's impossible, that is, until someone proves us wrong. 166 to 167. One person's logic is another person's miracle. It took 102 years for someone like Roger Bannister to come along in 1954 and break the 4-minute mile. For over 100 years, although people did try, it was believed that humans simply were not physically capable of covering 1 mile on foot in anything less than 4 minutes. Fewer than 8 weeks after Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, his record was broken. Once the seemingly impossible limit of 4 minutes was broken, it shattered the belief that it couldn't be done and opened the door for others to follow with times that were even faster. Once it was clear in consciousness that the 4-minute mile was no longer a limit of fact, the beliefs of others were freed to discover what new limits might look like. We continue to push them today. Bannister approached his goal using logic to convince his mind that it was attainable. As opposed to looking at the entire record as an obstacle, he chose to think of it in terms of being only mere seconds faster than another time he'd already accomplished. If we were to do the same thing today, using our preceding model, the logic would look something like this. A User's Guide to the Universe. Belief Code 1 experiments show that the focus of our attention changes reality itself and suggest that we live in an interactive world. Belief Code 2 We live our lives based on what we believe about our world, ourselves, our capabilities, and our limits. Belief Code 3 Science is a language, one of many that describe us, the universe, our bodies and how things work. Belief Code 4 If the particles that we're made of can be in instantaneous communication with one another, be in 2 places at once, and even change the past through choices made in the present, then we can as well. Belief Code 5 Our beliefs have the power to change the flow of events in the universe, literally interrupt and redirect time, matter, and space, and the events that occur within them. Belief Code 6 Just as we run a simulated program that looks and feels real, studies suggest that the universe itself may be the output of a huge and ancient simulation, a computer program that began long ago. If so, then to know the program's code is to know the rules of reality itself. Belief Code 7 When we think of the universe as a program, atoms represent bits of information that work just the way familiar computer bits do. They are either on as physical matter, or off as invisible waves. Belief Code 8 Nature uses a few simple, self-similar, and repeating patterns, fractals, to build atoms into the familiar patterns of everything from elements and molecules to rocks, trees, and us. Belief Code 9 If the universe is made of repeating patterns, then to understand something on a small scale provides a powerful window into similar forms on a grand scale. Belief Code 10 Belief is the program that creates patterns in reality. Belief Code 11 What we believe to be true in life may be more powerful than what others accept as truth. Belief Code 12 We must accept the power of belief to tap it in our lives. Belief Code 13 Belief is defined as the certainty that comes from accepting what we think is true in our minds, coupled with what we feel is true in our hearts. Belief Code 14 Belief is expressed in the heart, where our experiences are translated into the electrical and magnetic waves that interact with the physical world. Belief Code 15 Beliefs, and the feelings that we have about them, are the language that speaks to the quantum stuff that makes our reality. Belief Code 16 The subconscious mind is larger and faster than the conscious mind, and can account for as much as 90% of our activity each day. Belief Code 17 Many of our most deeply held beliefs are subconscious and begin when our brain state allows us to absorb the ideas of others before the age of 7. Belief Code 18 In our greatest challenges of life we often find that our deeply hidden beliefs are exposed and available for healing. Belief Code 19 Our beliefs about unresolved hurt can create physical effects with the power to damage or even kill us. Belief Code 20 When our soul hurts, our pain is transmitted into the body as the spiritual quality of the life force that we feed into each cell. Belief Code 21. The same principles that allow us to hurt ourselves into death also work in reverse, allowing us to heal ourselves into life. Belief Code 22. Our belief in one force for everything that happens in the world, or two opposite and opposing forces, good and evil, plays out in our experience of life, health, relationships, and abundance. Belief Code 23. To heal the ancient battle between darkness and light, we may find that it's less about defeating one or the other, and more about choosing our relationship to both. Belief Code 24. A miracle that's possible for anyone is possible for everyone. Belief Code 25. In a participatory reality, we are creating our experience, as well as experiencing what we have created. Belief Code 26. In 1998, scientists confirmed that photons are influenced just by being watched and discovered that the more intense the watching, the greater the watcher's influence on how the particles behave. Belief Code 27. The prime rule of reality is that we must become in our lives what we choose to experience in the world. Belief Code 28. We tend to experience in life what we identify within our beliefs. Belief Code 29. For different reasons that reflect the variations in the way we learn, both logic and miracles give us a way into the deepest recesses of our beliefs. Belief Code 30. To change our beliefs through the logic of our minds, we must convince ourselves of a new possibility through inarguable facts that lead to an inescapable conclusion. Belief Code 31. The power of a miracle is that we don't have to understand why it works. We must, however, be willing to accept what it brings to our lives.